So this is a brief video that anybody can do. Some gentle supported yoga. I'm going to be using a chair quite a bit of the time. And the theme this week is prayer. So whatever your faith tradition, pretty much everybody has a need to connect with something bigger than themselves, whatever you call it. I'm going to share with you one of my very favorite quotes from contemporary theologian Richard Rohr. And he says that prayer is this: prayer is sitting in silence until it silences us, practicing gratitude until we are grateful, and praising God till we ourselves are an act of praise. So that's going to be kind of our model for the day. We're going to kind of go out of order because the sitting in silence is going to come last. The whole purpose of yoga is to move our bodies, quiet our minds, so that we can be still in prayer or sitting in silence. It's really important to be able to do this. So we're going to quiet our mind by some breathing practices. I invite you to sit with your back away from the chair, your feet right under your knees, about hip width apart, maybe resting your hands on your thighs, palms facing down. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. Feel your spine long and simply start to pay attention to your breath. Simply inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. So whenever we do these breathing practices, we want to be sure there's no anxiety or dizziness. Always come back to your natural, normal breathing pattern if that happens. We're going to try and extend the breath a little bit. So maybe inhaling 5 or 6 counts and exhaling the same. Or even deeper, maybe 7 or 8. Just keep doing it. A few more. Maybe you can realize you slow it down even deeper, maybe 8 or 10, 12. Do one more and then just rest your hands on your thighs and breathe normally. And then gently float your eyes open if you haven't already, and we'll begin to warm the spine. So I'll turn sideways so you can see me with my feet in the same position. Use my hands on my knees, and on an exhale, I'm going to curl my tailbone under and let my head drop. So remember, there shouldn't be any pain. Some gentle stretching is fine. On your inhale, tilt your pelvis forward and start to ripple up through the spine, lifting the chest, lengthening the front side of the body. And reverse, exhaling, hollow out. Maybe even reaching your arms forward a little more. And then inhaling, gently arching, maybe pulling your elbows backward. So we're just going to continue to do that, moving with your breath, exhaling and inhaling. And exhaling. And inhaling. One more time, exhaling. This time on the inhale, just holding on to one hand, Gonna lift your arms up and over your head. Start to get those shoulders involved. Exhaling, hollow out. So energy, counter direction, down through the tailbone, up through the hands, and come on back to neutral. Bring your hands to your heart center and take a breath. You might already notice more space and energy in your spine. So we're going to continue to use our arms sort of to help us know where our spine is really going. All right, so our arms are just an extension of the back. So we're going to twist. I've got my fingers, index fingers, released, kind of like Charlie's Angels. And on an inhale, you're going to twist over to one side. Come through center. Inhale, get long. Twist to the other side. So inhale through center. We're going to hold this one a little bit longer. So twisting. With my hands interlaced right in front of me, I can really tell the amount of twisting I'm getting in my spine. And inhaling, come on back through center. And exhale, twist the other way. So we're just twisting using our back muscles from above the waist. And keep our knees, our feet stable. Already using our core muscles. And exhaling, gently release. All right. So I'm going to start to warm the legs and the hips. Got my right foot crossed over my knee if you can. And on an exhale, just fold forward with a flat back. All right, so my spine is straight. I'm not rounding my shoulders or my head forward. I'm just going to be here for 5 breaths, letting that hip open up. So important, especially in this time, to be well, both physically and mentally and spiritually. And inhaling, come on back up and gently release. And we'll go to the other side, which might feel completely different, but that's okay. There's no judgment. On an exhale, start to fold forward. So today, keeping it really simple, just coming back to the breath as a way to quiet the mind. So inhaling, come on back up. I'm going to leave my leg there, cross my knee over, and take another twist to this side. So this time using a little leverage if you can. So holding onto that top knee and the back of the chair, get really, really tall. And exhaling, twisting a little deeper. Inhaling, come on back through center. Exhaling, release that leg. And we'll go to the other side. Get tall on your inhale. On your exhale, twisting. The thing about twists is you can do them as gently or as vigorously as feels right. Just twisting right from the waist around my spine. And inhaling, come on back to center. So let's go ahead and just stretch our legs out. We're going to point and flex your feet. So I'll turn sideways so you can see my feet, right? So I've got my heels still on the ground. I'm just going to point my toes like a ballerina and then flex my feet. Point my toes and flex my feet. All right, do that a few times. Getting those lower limbs woken up, waked up, woken up. So if you wanted to make this a little more challenging, you could lift your heels off the ground. You start to use your leg muscles and your low belly muscles, or you could do it one leg at a time. And then make some circles with your ankles. Again, you can do this with your heels on the ground. And then go the other direction. And gently release. So we've got our legs woken up a little bit. We're going to stand up. We're going to come back to this tree pose or one-legged balance several times. I'm going to start standing on my left leg, holding onto the chair. So you could put your foot on your calf. You could bring it up above your knee. Just don't put any weight on the knee. All right, so find one place to rest your gaze, your focal point. Come back to your breath. And maybe you want to bring your hands together at your heart. Just a practice, and every day is different. Maybe you want to take your arms up over your head, using that energy upward to help stabilize you. And exhaling, gently release. Come back to Tadasana or mountain pose. And we'll go to the other side. So again, deciding where you want to put your foot. Better to get all your body weight on one leg and hold on to something. It's great for our bones. It's great for our core muscles. So I'm pushing my foot into my leg right back into my foot. And exhaling, gently release. We're going to come on back to the chair and start to stretch our legs a little bit more. So I'm going to turn one side so that my right thigh and hip are on the chair, and I'm going to take my left leg behind me. You might just get a straight line, knee down toward the floor, and feel that in your quadricep. But if you can, take it back a little further so that you feel a stretch in your hip flexor muscle as well. It's going to feel like a little bit of a back bend. Maybe you take that one arm up. Keep your front foot stable. If you wanted to challenge yourself, making sure you're holding on, you could even lift your hips up off the chair. Nice deep high lunge. I'm going to lower myself back down. On an exhale, release my hand and release my knee slowly and gently back down. We'll go to the other side. So you might just start here and then working up to straightening the leg behind you. Shouldn't be any pain in the knees, right? A nice deep hip flexor stretch. Take that arm up. See if you can balance a little bit. Getting your weight off the chair. Come back to your breath. Lower back into the chair and slowly and gently release. So a lot of yoga is about just poses and counter poses. All right, so have a nice all around good practice. I'm going to sit up tall and shift my weight back onto my hips. See if I can lift my shins. Oh, boat pose. Great for your core. So if this doesn't work to do both legs, you could try one leg at a time. All right. One more breath. And exhaling, gently release. Nice. So we're going to start to stretch our side body a little bit, right? So there's another way we can move our spine. We'll hold on to the chair with one side. Inhale, get really, really tall. And as you exhale, fold straight over. Feel a nice long stretch up this left side of the body. Try and keep the right shoulder away from the ear. Just gazing at the floor. One more breath. And inhaling, come on back up. Right away we'll go to the other side. So get tall, Keep your shoulders in line, right over the hips. Feet rooted. Feeling all those muscles in between the ribs on that right side getting longer, especially on the inhale. Come on back up. Rest your hands on your thighs. Perhaps close your eyes for a moment. Again, checking in with how your body feels. Taking a few breaths of gratitude for your body and all the ways that it can move, taking us on this journey. The thing is we can't go without our bodies. So it's important to keep them well. I'm going to put my leg on the chair for this next hamstring stretch, but you could do it just in your chair, folding over the leg. So I'm going to start with my left leg on the chair. I'm going to not hyperextend my knee. I'm going to keep it a little bit of a bend, draw my toes back toward my knee, and then make my spine longer as I fold over. Remembering it took a long time for our muscles to get short and tight. Be really patient, making them longer. You can even turn a little bit more toward that leg and you'll feel it up the IT band. Keep using that low belly, pulling it in. One more exhale. And gently release. While I'm here, I'm going to plant my foot on the chair. If you're seated, just go ahead and bend your knee again, and we're going to twist toward that leg. So I'm going to take my elbow to the outside of the thigh, so making sure you're nice and stable. Right? And then bring my palms together. So constantly lengthening the spine. Just get a nice little twist in the hip. If your mind starts to wander, just notice where it goes and then bring it right back to your breath. And gratitude. And release that foot down. Come on back to Tadasana. For a moment, noticing one side or the other. So I'm going to stay where I am. You could go to the other side of the chair. Doesn't really matter, right? So we're going to start with that hamstring stretch. Toes drawn back, a little bit of a bend in the knee. Again, you could do this seated, just stretch one leg out. Maybe you want to twist a little more toward that leg. Getting into the IT band. Pull your low belly in. Plant my foot on the chair. Make sure there's some space between your legs so you're nice and stable. So you don't want to be like on a balance beam. You want to have a good base. Right. I'm going to get long and take my elbow to the outside of the thigh. Find one place to rest my gaze. Pull my low belly in and see if I can deepen the twist. Exhaling, gently release. And again, come on back to Tadasana. So in Tadasana, you want to lift your toes up, spread your toes really wide if you can, and then lay them back down. You'll feel how that firms up your arches. And then slightly rotate your thigh bones inward, just an isometric motion, kind of zips up your low belly, the tailbone's dropping down. Shoulders are stacked right over the hips. And I'm going to soften my knees and sit down into my heels. Just a little chair pose. Right? Just feeling the lower legs stretch, quadriceps working. Take a couple more breaths here. And then I'm going to come to a modified down dog. So I'm going to simply fold my ribs toward my thighs, take my hands to the chair, and inhale. Lift my hips, lengthening out so I look like an upside down L. And then I'm going to walk my feet back so I can drop my chest and get the shoulders nice and open. So probably feels like a hamstring stretch in the legs. Nice deep shoulder stretch. Maybe turn your head from side to side a little bit. Come back to stillness. Take 3 deep breaths. On an inhale, soften your knees again, pull your low belly in, walk your feet back towards the chair so you can get your body weight back over your hips. This time I'm going to sweep my fingertips up, really trying to pull my upper arms back by my ears. Take 3 breaths here. You're raising your gaze. And inhaling right back to Tadasana, and exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Going to take tree pose again. See how it goes this time. So maybe trying it without a chair, or holding on to the wall. Decide where you want to put your foot. So this time maybe we'll take our arms out to the side, palms facing up. Wherever you are, practicing gratitude for what you can do. That we have the space, the time, the technology to be able to practice together. We'll go right to the other side. So remembering it's just a practice. We're not going for perfection. And when you're ready, releasing. Nice. So another quad stretch. We're going to do dancer pose. Now you might want to hold on to the wall, hold on to the chair back. I'm going to go to the wall so I can stay nice and tall. I'm going to bring one leg up and run my hand down my shin. Now if you can't do this, you could always grab hold of your pant leg. It's going to give you more space, right? If this isn't working for you standing, go back into the chair and do that first stretch, quad stretch, like we did, just dropping the knees straight down. So today, I think I might take my other hand back behind me and reach with both hands. Just getting a nice deep front body opener. If there's some other way that you'd like to do this pose, maybe going a little deeper, and you know how to do it safely, go for it. Just remembering there shouldn't be any pain. Stretchy is good, sharp pain is not. And gently releasing. So it's important to learn to know the difference between those two. Right. Go right to the other side. Start with the wall, grabbing the pant leg or the foot, Find your balance. Becomes easier and easier to be still in these poses the more you practice. Exhaling, gently release. That's also true with sitting in silence. It's a practice. So we're going to work our inner thighs a little bit. I'm going to stand right behind my chair. My toes are pointed out right over my knees are pointed out right over my toes. I'm going to exhale. Just bend my knees a little bit. All right. And inhale, straighten. On my next exhale, I'm going to keep my feet where they are, but I'm going to feel like I'm isometrically drawing my heels together, and you'll feel those inner thighs tighten up. There's your exhale. Inhaling, release the knees down. Exhale, drag those heels together. Inhaling, release the knees down. Exhaling, drag the heels together. One more time, inhaling, knees down. Exhaling, drag those heels together. Good. And slowly and gently heel toe your way in. And we're going to do one more downward facing dog. So I'm going to turn my chair sideways. I take my hands down by my side. Chicken with your feet, they're parallel, right under your hips. Inhale, fingertips up. Exhaling, folding forward like you're swan diving into a pool. Find your chair. Maybe you want to fold all the way over for a breath. So forward folds are great for calming. And then I'm going to walk my feet back so I can stretch into that modified down dog. So my body looks like the shape of a V. Maybe you turn your head from side to side again. If you wanted to try a downward dog by just taking one hand at a time to the floor, and walking your feet back a little bit more, you could do that. So we're just keeping the same shape in our body. Got my hands on the ground. You can see I've had to bend my knees a little bit. Maybe the hamstrings or the hips are tight. You can walk your feet back. Again, keeping the knees bent. That's helpful. Just a couple of breaths. So if your hands are on the ground, soften your knees and start to walk your feet toward your hands again so you can get your body weight back over your feet. All right. Find the chair. Come a little closer. So we're in that modified chair pose again. Lengthen the spine. Lengthen the legs. And then soften the knees. Bring your hands to your hips and come to standing with a flat back. And one more tree pose. All right. So I'm going to start with my right foot, again, on the calf or up on the knee. Bring your hands to your heart center and take 3 deep breaths. So as we finish up, I encourage you to think about what it looks like for your life to be an act of praise, especially in this time. Focusing on the positive rather than the negative. Switching sides here. And exhaling, gently release. We're going to come to sitting in our chair. We're going to sit in silence for what's going to be about 5 minutes. If you wanted to sit longer, you could just pause the video and set a timer. So ideally we want to work up to 15 or 20 minutes. Again, it's a practice. So I'm sitting up tall with my back away from the back of the chair. I'm going to turn my palms facing up this time. It's kind of acknowledgement of all the good energy you've created, a way to receive it. Invitation is to simply follow your breath. So closing your eyes and inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. This is like a seated Shavasana practice. If you wanted to lay on your back, knees bent or stretched out, you could do that instead. So here we go. Nothing to do until you hear my voice again. So take 3 more deep breaths. In the nose and out through the nose. On your next inhale, bring your hands to your heart center, keeping your eyes closed. Feel your spine really, really long. One more time, your chin level, the back of the neck long. Exhaling, bowing your head to your heart, the mental pat in the back. We're showing up so that you can be your best in mind, body, and spirit. Carry that out into the world for others. The spirit in me honors the spirit in you, and the ways that we are connected. Godspeed. Again, prayer is sitting in silence until it silences us. Practicing gratitude until we are grateful. And praising God till we ourselves are an act of praise.